In today's video, I continue my survival world where I reach 1,300 days of playtime. This is an exciting one as we have updated to Minecraft 1.17. These videos take a long time to make, so if you want to subscribe, then hey, I'm not stopping you. Anyway, let's get into it. Welcome back to my lovely single player world here. We're outside our palace we built last time, standing on our diamond beacon, our world looking rather magnificent still. And we spent the rest of day 1,200 gathering some materials and, of course, killing some horses, especially this child horse here. Look at it die, yes. We like to set the expectations straight away here on this series, and what we're actually doing is we're heading into our gold farm, which is on top of the Nether, and we're flying far out, as that's right, we're on 1.17 now, meaning we want all that new good stuff to spawn, and this is probably the best way, and it worked. As you can see here, we spawned straight into an amethyst geode, which had some dripstone right next to it. Pretty crazy. But we don't want to spend our entire time in here. Oh, no, no, no. So we dug up all the way to the top here, where we actually ended up in an ocean biome, and once we flew around a little bit, we found some land and straight away some goats, and I was like, ooh, goats, and I thought, you know what, I haven't killed any goats yet, so I killed one, and it dropped nothing just to make sure I killed another two, and they also dropped nothing, so goats don't drop anything. I then looked around in some shipwrecks hoping to find that moss block. Our first one, we didn't get lucky, but we did get a diamond. But the second ship we came across, it had some maps and some other useful stuff, but it also had some moss blocks. Very, very nice. I also found some other goodies before killing some more horses. And then I found this lovely little area here, and I thought, you know what? This is going to be our 1.17 area. But I didn't want to have to go back to that amethyst geo under the sea every time I wanted to get back to my other section, so instead I made myself another nether portal here, but it was not linked up to the ceiling, so I had to go kill an enderman in the nether, which was quite easy to find, get that ender pearl, note down the location of the end portal which I'd just come through, and then went up to the ceiling using that little glitch there, and we're surprisingly close to our other nether portal which we came through originally, but this one here links up very nicely to our new nether portal. All sorted now, meaning we can get back and forth from here with ease. And in fact, I decided to make a little torch pathway so I could just follow along on the roof of the nether with more ease. But we're back at our castle, gathering up some resources and things we thought we might need before heading into the nether to collect ourselves some wither skeleton skulls to kill the wither, as we wanted a new beacon as we'd ran out. I also upgraded my bow to have infinity on it and renamed it Wither Skelly, please drop your head, you silly. And then they started dropping the heads. It's almost like they got my message. But it still took about 20 minutes or so to do this, but we got all the skulls we needed in the end. The final one here. The bow, by the way, was for the blazes, which are very, very annoying. But after collecting all 3 skulls, we headed back home and we got killing that wither boss, which honestly with this method is very easy. I didn't even get hit by the wither once. Very, very nice. I think that's our 3rd or 4th wither we've killed now. I'm not entirely sure, but there we go. Another beacon, meaning we can head back to the new 1.17 area where I instantly went in the caves to get some of that beautiful copper. As of course we're going to be building a house and we're going to be using all these new blocks to do so. I also found myself my first glow ink sack, which is very nice, as well as lots more copper and some diamonds as well. Ooh, fancy. And after gathering materials for a while, I took them back to our chest we plopped down here, dug up all the copper and used our fortune-free pickaxe to gather all the copper, diamonds and coal we'd gathered. I then crafted myself some blast furnaces, as we're going to be smelting a lot of copper, and obviously these are twice as quick, before heading through our portal and into the portal that actually came out in the geode, as I wanted some calcite, as we're going to be using that for our build. And just as day 1.2.10 was ending, I noticed this horse here, so I slept and then killed them in the morning before going to gather, that's right, more copper. It's a shame that there's no real good way for farming this stuff and you just have to go caving, but to ease the stress of all that caving, I killed a load of horses. And it is quite satisfying using the fortune-free pickaxe at the end there and getting all that copper. While we were mining some more, I came across an axolotl. Ooh, lovely. I thought, you know what? I'll have him. He's my axolotl now. And he brought me instant bad luck as I was mining myself some more copper here, and yeah, this happened. It's always going going to happen, a death in this series. And of course, we spawned right at the jungle as I hadn't set my spawn point, and we had to fly all the way back. But before we did, our emergency elytra was getting quite low, so I added some unbreaking and mending bugs to it before fixing it up by doing some more trading with our villagers until it was nice and full and we could head back to get our stuff. Not worrying about it despawning, of course, because it was so far away in an unloaded chunk, and we actually managed to find it with relative ease here, and we got it all back. So of course I just went back and instantly started mining more copper, and I also did this cool little fly here. This is kind of risky, but I like those risks to get these diamonds. Also, still not seeing a glow squid, but I did find some glow ink sacks and another axolotl, and I wanted to get it, so I went and made myself a new bucket and got it in this little hole here, and we got both these axolotls in their buckets eventually after a bit of struggle, as I didn't want them to die, of course, but we brought them back home nice and safe, where obviously I made another tower and I mined down that tower and we got all the resources before smelting them all. And yeah, this is just a very common theme this episode. But as you can see, we got a load of blast furnaces now, meaning we could smelt that up nice and quickly, so I decided to go gather some other resources while it was smelting, and look at all that copper. Nearly a full inventory's worth, enough to make 2 stacks and a bit of blocks, which I decided to spread out to help oxidize, and as you can see, it's already working. But after heading home to our castle quickly to gather some prismarine walls, which we'll be using in our build, it was time to actually get building our house. And as you can see here, we're using some deep slate, some calcite, and of course that copper to make a lovely house here. And we didn't want to make a tiny house. Oh no, we go big or we go home on this channel, and I made myself a lovely sort of 2-story, technically 3-story house here. And I'm not gonna lie, copper is one of my new favorite blocks. It looks so cool on roofs, especially when it's oxidizing. I love it. But what I don't love is running out of materials, and one of the main ones being copper. So to give myself some relief, I killed some horses here before going mining again and gathering a load more of the copper stuff. And although I thought like I gathered quite a lot, it was never really enough, to be honest. I always kept running out of this stuff, and as you can see here, we're getting like full inventories full almost. But copper wasn't the only thing we ran out of. We also ran out of wood and deep slate as well, so we went and gathered some more of that before smelting it all and making some more blocks. And after we'd gathered what I thought was enough, definitely wasn't enough, we made some more progress on our roof here, and you can see the main thing we ran out of is copper. We've got everything else. So on day 1226, once again we headed out into the caves to get some more of that copper ore. Hey, that rhymed. And I love being so far away. It means there's more horses spawning in and I can kill them. Not sure what our horse kill count on is at the moment, but I know it's over 200. I also headed to one of the nearby villages here to get ourselves the bell, as we're going to put this in our bell tower on our house. And hey, did someone ask for a satisfying time lapse of me mining all my copper ore? Well, there you go. Even if you didn't ask for it, you've got one. Here it is. Done. Also, this wandering trader turned up. I was hoping for some drip leaf, but he didn't have anything, so of course I just killed him. And while I was waiting for our mountain of copper to smelt, I did some of the inside, laid down the floor and the second floor, although I did run out of materials again whilst doing that. But we finally had enough copper from all our furnaces here to make enough blocks to finish off the roof. So of course I did that, and this is the bell tower I was talking about before. And obviously the copper hasn't oxidized yet, but you know what? I like it. I like the sort of gradient effect we got going. And you want to see it with some shaders? There you go. It's looking rather nice. But what wasn't looking nice was the inside. But I decided, you know what? Screw that. Let's go have a bit more fun with 1.17 first. So I actually headed to a mesa biome because, of course, I wanted to go find some minecarts. And we got some diamonds and some gold in this and some more iron in this one. But third time's the charm. And we got the glowberries in the third chest. Very nice. And we also raided some shipwrecks along the way to get some more moss blocks and some iron and other goodies. And speaking of the moss blocks, I haven't actually used them yet. So I went and bone milled some moss blocks to get some of the azalea plants that we can use to, of course, make the azalea trees. I also started gathering some materials for the inside of our base, and also made myself a spyglass, which I aptly named, after making myself an anvil, the horse locator. And we put it to good use instantly and located ourselves a horse. Look at it, there it is. And of course, when I locate a horse, the next best step is to kill said horse. And any horses that are nearby also get killed. But horse killing aside, it was time to work on our interior. And I decided to add some different colour walls on the inside just to make it look a bit different and nice. And of course, we needed a lot of spruce wood, as I just love decorating stuff with spruce wood. So I used some of the saplings I brought along to make a big spruce tree and got ourselves a load of wood. I also gathered some diorite, which I'm actually getting kind of fond of now, to make ourselves a nice kitchen floor here. Another tiled pattern, you know I love these. And of course, we're bringing in some of the deep slate block and some of the new 1.17 blocks. This guy here, no drip leaf, he's dead. But we're working on sort of like a main storage slash crafting area, and I wanted to make it really sort of aesthetic in here, which I kind of struggle with. As you know, I'm not the best at interiors, and I also struggle a lot while making them, so they're not very fun for me to make, but I always try my best to make something that looks very cozy and unique. So rather than just building a big blocky chest system, I decided to spread the chests out and make it look more aesthetic, and also used a lot of barrels, as well as adding in things like a kitchen area with this smoker and an ender chest, and also some lovely plants. This is one of my new favourite plants, the moss block on top of the azalea. Very cool. You also see I placed my ender chest down there, so I had to go make myself a new one, so I went back to my base to make myself one of those. While I was there, I also gathered myself some green wool, as I was wanting to make a double bed, and I only currently had one single green bed. I also gathered some maps while I was there, because I wanted to make a map of the area and do like a sort of before and after. I probably should have done this right at the start, but I forgot, so I put the maps on this wall here. So I made myself a cartography table, where in a little bit you'll see me locking the maps with some glass panes. But before I did that, I went and got myself some clay to make myself some flower pots, as I couldn't be bothered to go back home to trade one of my masons for bricks. And here you can see the map all locked in place and looking rather nice. But the upstairs wasn't looking nice, so it was time for us to fix that by adding in a lovely bedroom for ourselves here. And I kind of just neglected the third floor. There is space for stuff up there, but I thought, nah, screw it, let's just not bother with that. We don't really need it, but we do need a fancy double bed, so I built myself a fancy double bed. But we kept the rest of the bedroom looking rather simplistic, and you know what? I kind of like it. I think it looks quite cool. But there's one more room upstairs, so I went to get myself some vines to make myself some moss stone blocks. But of course, you can actually use moss blocks to make mossy cobblestone now. I don't know why I didn't do that. I just forgot. But speaking of moss blocks, I placed them in this room upstairs here and used some of the mossy cobblestone I just gathered to make this sort of weird little area up here. What's it for? Well, after making it look a little bit more overgrown, I went to my chest outside and gathered myself my two axolotls, which are named Brenda the Blue and Perry. I then placed them in a little water pool up here, as this is where they're going to live, as I wanted my first two axolotls to live in my brand new house. And look how cute they are. I love it. And then I finished off the house by making myself some paintings and plopping them around in different places. And there you have it. Here's a little full tour of the house. We've got our kitchen slash crafting and storage area down here. We've got another little room in here with a fire pit, which is our map room. And then up the stairs, of course, we've got ourselves our bedroom and a nice little view outside. And then finally, we have the axolotl room. Very, very cool. So I spent the next couple of days emptying the couple of chests outside and placing them into a sort of storage system, which is nice and organized. Not automated like our massive storage system, but organized and looking very nice. I also grabbed myself some glowberries I got earlier and put those in our axolotl room to make them happy, as I know they love glowing berries. I don't know if they do, but either way, I put them in there. I also went back to my base there, as you can see, to get some carrots, as we're going to be working on the outside of the house and making that look nice by adding in a pathway up to our nether portal, and also splitting that pathway off for new adventures in the future, and also some flower fields, which I really, really like, and also some fields of wheat and a field of potatoes as well, making the whole area look fantastic in my opinion. It looks so nice when you're walking along the ground here as well. Oh, it's lovely. But it still had this ugly nether portal next to it, as you can see here, and I wanted to fix that. So I actually went through the nether portal and went and gathered myself a brewing stand. Why? Well, you'll see. I gathered myself some obsidian while I was here as well, plus the nether wart, before heading back through the portal and into our home, where we got brewing some potions, starting with some awkward potions and converting them into night vision potions before extending them with some redstone we had to go gather here. And once they were done, we headed out onto the ocean, where, as you can see, if you drink a night vision potion, it becomes so much brighter underneath the water. So I was looking for geodes, and I spotted one pretty quickly, went down and got myself a load of the amethyst block, but most importantly, this basalt block here. This is what I wanted. As like I said, we're going to change this portal to look a bit nicer. And I made this sort of amethyst portal design here where the portal's inside an amethyst geode. And I really, really like it. I think it looks very, very cool and fits in really nicely with just the surrounding area as well, surprisingly. And I was kind of worried here that I wouldn't link up to our portal on the roof, but after a bit of a glitchy section there, it did, and we got it working. And I actually decided to head back to my original base to get ourselves some purple dye to make some purple concrete, as well as some wood, as you can see there. As we're not going to be messing around, we're going to be moving on to our next project, of course, and we needed some redstone plus some dripstone, as that's right, we're going to make ourselves a dripstone farm. This is quite an easy farm to make, but I did just come up with a design by myself, as it's kind of a simple farm, very similar to, you know, like a bamboo farm or a sugarcane farm where you have an observer which is attached to a piston which breaks the dripstone for you. So I embedded this dripstone farm into this mountain here, but I also wanted to make a building on the outside, which you can see we ran out of materials once again, and one of the materials we needed was actually amethyst. So I went and grabbed a load of that, as well as a load of deep slate, but then we had enough of each of those blocks to get working on this building here. And look, it's quite a big building, and I made an amethyst roof. That's what the purple concrete was for, and I love it. I think these two things go really well together. I also added a field of carrots outside just to finish off our vegetable fields, and I also added in some lanterns all around. So here's the inside of all the dripstone. It takes quite a while for this to drop down, so it's not super efficient. However, it's good enough for us. But it's time to move on for another project. Of course, we're not just finished with this area yet. We're going to go bigger. We're going to go better. And what we needed was a beacon, as I wanted to make a sort of deep slate mine slash just general mine in this area. So I dug down a massive hole here, just 7 by 7 wide, I'm pretty sure, but all the way to level 6. And as you can see, there was a cave on the side here, and yep, I died again. I can't believe it. A creeper just came out of nowhere and killed me. So once again, I had to make the way back from spawn. I'm so glad I put that ender chest there, because I am stupid and I use it very often. But we managed to make our way back to the mine and gather up all our materials and gear, etc. But there was an awful lot of mobs in here, like a ridiculous amount, and luckily I found myself a skeleton spawn, and that could be quite useful for the future in case we need any bones for anything. But most importantly, there was all these zombies here just carrying glow ink sacks, and they were just everywhere. So I killed all those, got some glow ink sacks, still not seeing a glow squid. Did find an axolotl though, very cute. But don't worry, this mine isn't just going to be a big hole in the ground. Oh no, we're going to make it look nice, and I wanted to make it look like a mine I've not really ever built before. Normally I just build like the one into the cliff or cave sort of thing, whereas this one I wanted to add in like a sort of quarry sort of vibe. So I made it look like we gradually dug out the edge of the hole here and decorated it with some rocks around, etc. before going to get some more materials, as I was going to build something else there, and I required some deep slate, some spruce. Also, it's really annoying how deep slate isn't insta-mine even with a beacon. Like, I don't understand why that is, but I guess they made a decision and that's the way they wanted it to be. But here you can see me gathering some copper and some iron to make some raw blocks of those, as we are going to be building something on the edge of our hole, and that thing is a crane. I've never really built one of these before, so I kind of had a bit of a weird time coming up with the design, but I'm really happy with how it turned out, and we've got those raw copper and iron hanging there, as you can see, from the crane itself. Now all we have to do is link up this with the rest of our place. So I went and made a little path all the way up to it. Well, most of the way at least, because I've got a few more plans and I didn't want to get in the way. And also, look how nice my copper's coming along. Oh, I do like it. But we have this mine and we're going to be getting a lot of resources from this mine. So I decided to make ourselves a little storage system here, just as the house storage will get overflowing very quickly, and I wanted to build a separate building just for all the stone, deep slate, etc. And I once again used some amethyst and purple concrete for the roof, and I'm really happy with how this turned out. Inside, very basic, just a lot of chests, some beams, and a sort of furnace area as well. I also made some walls after we were complete to sort of barrier off the area that we have for our quarry here. I wanted to separate it from the nice greenery of everywhere else and make it look like it's a real constructor site. And to do that, I got some podzol, some coarse dirt, some dripstone, in fact, and I made a sort of cool sort of pattern with these blocks here, sort of gradually gradienting into the center, as you can see there. And this took quite a while, a couple of days or so to do, but we finished it and it ended up looking rather cool, as you can see from up above. above here. However, there were still some floating chests, so I decided to sort out the sorting system and place everything in its dedicated chest and use some item frames to label it as so. And it's wild how long this actually takes just to sort stuff out. Like, that's why I've got the automated system in my other base, because it's just so much nicer. Oh, and I also decided to store the other axolotl I got earlier just on a glowing item frame here in our house, as I think it just looks really cute in a little bucket there. I love it. And speaking of our automated sorter system and our other base, we headed home quickly as I really wanted to fix up my tools. And luckily we built our building over our end portal here last time, so we managed to use that to go inside and fix up our tools with our Enderman spawner rather quickly. I love seeing how much XP and flying off like this. I think it just looks really cool. But that is it for the old base. Let's head back to the 1.17 area where we're going to actually go mining. That's why we fixed up our tools. I wanted to clear out some space down here. And look, diamonds instantly. How lovely is that? I wanted to clear out a bigger space than I normally would, like much taller, going from like Y14 or something like that all the way down to Y6. And this used to be really quick, but because of deep slate now, it takes so much longer. But the main reason I built this mine was for the deep slate, so of course I'm not just going to leave that behind. And we got a few nice resources there, as you can see, about 14 diamonds, so worth not that great, but we also got all the deep slate and cobble deep slate. But alas, it's time to move on from that project once more to a new project, and that project is gathering some axolotls. So I went out into the ocean, looked down in all the ravines and stuff, trying to find myself some axolotls. Nearly drowned multiple times, found myself quite a few like cyan axolotls, until eventually I actually came across this sort of cave system here underwater, and we managed to find our glow squid and also a yellow axolotl. Look how cute that is. And also in the same cave, a pink one. Oh yes, we're getting all of them now, apart from the blue one. They're quite rare apparently. Also, yes, it is a struggle to get these things in a bucket sometimes. But I finally saw my first glow squid and killed it. And then I found another one straight afterwards as well and killed that as well to get ourselves a load of glowing sacks. I feel like I've only got them from zombies before, but with our looting free, we get a decent amount. But I grabbed our other axolotl in our item frame to bring us to 6 axolotls total, I believe, and we put them in a chest here before heading to the skeleton spawner where I put out all the torches. I know it looks like it's bright still, that's because my night vision potion's still on, but I made myself like a sort of 9x9 area so these guys would spawn in, but I just killed them, and as you can see, they shot me a lot. Lots of arrows here, but we got a lot of bones from them, thank you skeletons. And we wanted them for bone meal, as I wanted to get myself some azalea leaves, and to get some azalea leaves, of course, we need to use the moss block and the azalea sort of little plants here to get ourselves some azalea trees. It is a real shame how hard it is to get these flowering azalea leaves. I can't wait for them to actually like come out and spawn in the game rather than having to do it this way, as it is quite tiresome, but it's worth it as they are very, very pretty. And although I am using them here to make a hedge, that is not what we're actually gathering all those leaves for. I did, however, want to make another flower field before we moved on to our next axolotl project, as I wanted to use the peonies, as I hadn't have a flower field of those yet, and I really, really like how that looks. But here you can see we got a load of materials, enough to get working on another time lapse, where this is going to be where we keep all those axolotls we gathered earlier. I made this lovely sort of watery / mossy land here with a massive azalea tree in the middle for our axolotls to live, and of course it's a double hedge all around so they can't escape. But before we put them in, we're going to give them some names, of course. So we headed into our house to our anvil, where I checked every colour and named them Jeremy the Axolotl, Lizzie, Muddy Mark, Pauline, Greg, and Goldilocks. Each one specific to their colour, as you can see here, apart from Greg and Pauline, who are just... I don't know why, but Muddy Mark looks a bit muddy. You get the gist. And now they're safe in their pond, I thought, you know what? Let's breed them a bit. So I went and gathered ourselves some tropical fish from the ocean over here, headed home, and bred them together to have a look at some of those adorable baby axolotls. However, it was a bit of a struggle, as you can see there. But finally, we got Jeremy and I believe Greg to breed. And here we have our first baby. Look how tiny and cute it is. Oh, I love them so much. I managed to get 3 babies in total, calling them Graham, Fantissimo, and Bill. And then we let them free in our axolotl area. Oh, they're so cute. I even gave them a bit of a tropical fish to punch around for a bit of fun. And then these guys showed up, so I left the area, instead looking for another animal. That animal, of course, being the goat. I found some on a mountain nearby, got some leads on them, and started leading them home. Which didn't take too long, and once I got them there, to keep them still, I put them both in some boats. As you can see, they can jump quite a lot. And because they can jump quite a lot, that means it's going to be quite tricky to keep them contained. But I came up with an idea. But before that idea, for some reason, I decided, you know what? Let's build a pumpkin field. So I built myself a pumpkin field. Just planted them normally. They're not actually growing in there, but I thought it looked kind of cool. And I also went to get some sea pickles as well to bring back home, as I wanted to put them on top to make that sort of cool pumpkin effect. And it turned out looking rather cool, if I do say so myself. But back to the goats, where I gathered up some materials, including some stone, some snow, some grass, and that's basically it, really. Some other things as well, but most importantly, the stone and the grass, as we're going to be building these guys a lovely cave. The goat cave. I know, they normally live on mountains and I'm putting them in a cave. Well, it's the only way to keep them contained in here, to be honest with you. So I built this lovely little section here, and then inside we sort of dug down a little bit to give them a bit more room in height so they can do their jumping, and added in some leaves before bringing in both the goats, letting them out their boats. And then I decided to breed them quickly, and I bred them before I named them because I thought it'd be a bit weird to name them what I've decided to name them, which is Fred and George, and that'd be kind of weird. But look how cute that baby is. I love it so much. But Fred and George, they're proud parents. I don't know. Either way, kind of weird. But I headed back to my old base quickly to trade some maps with my villager here. I wanted some more maps because on the final day of this video, we're going to make ourselves a map to compare with how it started. And after making the maps, I needed some leather. So you know what that means. The horse locator's out and we get some screaming horses. Listen to them. Beautiful. And we got a bit too much leather as I got kind of carried away. But I also decided to make ourselves some glowing item frames to put these in, as I thought that'd be kind of cool if it glowed at night. And to put a sign saying day 1300, use the glowing sack on it, then put our maps up. And as you can see, a huge difference thanks to those fields we added in. Oh, it looks rather cool. And then we slept for the final time, bringing us to day 1300. And look at what we have achieved in these 100 days. What a beautiful looking area. I really, really like this style I've gone for, and I love the flower fields. Everything is just looking rather nice, isn't it? Oh, the axolotl bit there as well. So colourful, so pretty. But that is it for this video. Here are some stats as we finish talking. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you did enjoy this video. If you've got this far, please subscribe, please leave a like, and also leave a comment with an umbrella, and I'll know you're a real one. Also, 269 horses killed. Not that bad, eh? Thanks for watching. Goodbye.